So let's say, so we're looking at, we're going to compare an evolutionary, well, we're going to look at what an evolutionary arms race is first. So what is an arms race in general? Let's imagine we have two people who really don't like each other, and we'll call them Bob and Steve. Now, Bob decides, I'm going to get a gun. I'm going to get a gun, protect myself from Steve. Steve goes, oh my God, Bob's got a gun. What am I going to do? He doesn't like me. I don't like him. I'm going to get myself a machine gun. Bob goes, oh my God, Steve's got a machine gun. I'm going to get a tank. And then so basically, essentially, it escalates, right? So one reacts to the other by getting something larger and larger. So this is what happens in evolution as well. So a classic example of an evolutionary arms race is between a cheetah and a gazelle. So I'm just going to get some pictures of those. So here's an example of how the same idea of an arms race between Bob and Steve can be applied between a cheetah and a gazelle. Basically, what happened is a long time ago, a cat evolved into something like a cheetah, and it became quite good at running and was quite fast, and so it was able to catch an animal similar to a gazelle. In response to that, the animals that were like gazelles, the slower ones of the animals that are like gazelles died out, and the faster ones survived because they're able to get away from the animal that was like the cheetah. That meant that the gazelles evolved to be faster and able to dodge the cheetahs, and that prompted a kind of a need for the cheetahs to evolve into that was faster to catch the gazelles. So essentially, they actually have slightly different characteristics. Cheetahs are extremely fast, but they're extremely fast in a straight line. So they have evolved slightly different skills in a straight line, whereas gazelles are fast, fairly fast. Cheetahs are much faster, obviously, fast and good at dodging, so good at changing direction. So as time went on, we're talking millions of years. The one animal, offspring. Well, a selection of offspring, the fastest of the offspring would survive and pass those genes on to the next generation, and the ones that are able to dodge the cheetah was able to pass it down. So as time went on, these guys this one got really, really fast. This one got really fast and good at changing direction. So that would be an example of an evolutionary arms race. So that would be an example of an arms race in evolution within organisms. Now, that is not the same as what's happening here, and it often gets confused. And in fact, I confused it a moment ago. So that's an evolutionary arms race. So we can tick that off. We know what that is in a nutshell. This over here is a predator-prey relationship. So I'll go over that within the same video, actually, just so we can have a video that sort of compares the two. Basically, this is happening. The difference being is an evolutionary arms race is happening over many, many generations. Okay, so over millions or thousands or millions of years, animals evolve and change as a result of the need to change due to the prey or the predator. A predator-prey relationship or cycle is different. What happens, I suppose, all still relationship, but this cycle is different to the arms race. What's happening here is when the predator. So notice how where there was a peak, there's a peak down here, but the peak of the predator is slightly further along than the peak of the prey. So there's the peak of the prey, and there's the peak of the predator. And also notice that the prey goes up and down more wildly than the predator goes up and down. So what's going on? Well, basically, you can imagine that if for some reason the amount of prey, so flies by the looks of things in this case, increases, then this would provide more food for the frogs. So the frogs would be able to, the numbers of frogs would also increase. But in doing so, when the numbers of frogs increase, this causes the flies to decrease because they're now all being eaten. And when they decrease, then the frogs decrease too. And when the frogs decrease, this allows the flies to increase again. So this has a kind of oscillatory, sort of repetitive cycle effect. So why is it off to one side? So the reason why there's a peak on the prey, the reason why the peak on the prey is slightly off to the right, there's a delay, is because it takes a little while for the numbers of the predator to react to the numbers of prey. Clearly, once the prey get eaten, once the predators increase in number, then they're just going to wipe out the prey quite quickly. But the reason for the delay in the predators is because the predators would have to die of starvation or not mate as much. So there's going to be a delay in the predators. When the prey die out, the predators die out, but not immediately. There will be a slight delay. What about why is the peak larger? Why is there much of a larger variation with predator compared with prey? Sorry, why is there a larger variation of prey compared with predator? So the reason why it actually shoots up more, and the reason why the numbers actually vary a lot more than the prey, is generally speaking because predators will eat. One predator will eat lots of prey. So that relates to the pyramid of numbers, which you may have done before. So and food chains. So let's think of a very simple food chain here. We got the frog is let's get it this right way around. Start from left to right. So we'll say like pondweed. Actually, to be honest, I'm not really sure what that fly is eating, but the fly is eating something, some sort of plant probably, and then the fly is being eaten by the frog. And then maybe the frog's being eaten by something else. So remember the arrow is the direction of the energy. So that's a brief food chain revision. This links to food pyramids because the fact is that one frog will eat many flies. So if let's say we put that rectangle represents the frogs at the top, well the frogs, one frog might eat, I don't know, like a huge number of flies, right? And those flies might eat a huge number of plants, whatever the plant is. Okay, so that is the question mark, which I wasn't sure what. So that would be the flies, and that would be the frogs. So they represent the amount of frogs. So it could be 100 frogs eats 1,000 flies, probably more. I'm sure 10,000 flies and so on. So that's why there's a bigger variation, because the flies if you increase the frogs slightly, then it'll affect the flies hugely because frogs eat many flies. Okay.